So we have our second trade, this one also with the Magic, involving my Celtics, Evan Fournier to Boston. It seems like right now it's just for 2 second-round picks, and I'm assuming the trade exception. I mean, we'll have to see if the Celtics are putting a smaller contract in this. You are allowed to do that with a trade exception. But, yeah, here we go. Danny Ainge had a chance to go super all-in for someone, and there's a chance he could still do that with picks on a different move. But as far as Fournier is concerned, he got him for not much. I mean, obviously Fournier can help them this season as a shooter. They definitely need a shooter because they're throwing Ojale and Grant Williams, and I love Marcus Smart, but we know how his shooting is. And now you get like a really solid guy who can knock down shots, space out the floor. I think he can play with as many wing players as you want to play him out there because, if Tatum's on the power forward or it's Jalen or maybe even Fournier against some teams, it'll be fine, would be my guess. And he would also give the Celtics a little bit more of a playmaking boost. Yeah, he's not the passer that Gordon Hayward was a year ago, even if their assist numbers are probably not too far away from each other. But I just think Fournier's ability to keep the dribble alive off of a closeout and then make it the next pass to someone while still being a threat from outside, I think that could go a long way for the Celtics. I mean, they just sit in such an awkward spot right now where they just need more sort of juice and energy. And from a personality standpoint, I'm not sure if Evan Fournier is really that guy, but from just a pure talent standpoint and not having someone who the defense can ignore or someone who they can shut down on a simple closeout, I think it's a nice thing to have. Now, one thing with Fournier is he was used sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the time as the second option in Orlando. And I feel like with the Celtics, I mean, it's obviously he's going to be shooting behind Tatum and Jalen and Kemba when he's out there, and hell, sometimes maybe even Marcus Smart. So Fournier is going to have to adjust a little bit, and we're going to have to see. I mean, I think in terms of him just being a catch-and-shoot guy, he can certainly do it, and we're going to have to see if Brad has him relocating off the ball and involved in floppy plays and that sort of thing. In terms of pick and roll, I mean, he can do it. I just don't know if they're going to have him doing it all the time. I think, you look back to how they used Hayward, and it was sometimes Hayward was a pick and roll guy, even if he was like their best passer. And so I don't think it's going to be as often with Fournier, but it's an extra thing for them to go to, and they just kind of need more options right now. Now, with all this said, can I not help but be like a little bit like, really, man, when I look at like Vooch moving for 2 picks? A little bit. I mean, the thing with Fournier is it gives them more cap flexibility because he's going to be a free agent, and in the case of Vooch, he makes a lot of money. But I couldn't help but be like, man, maybe Vooch would help this team out a lot more. I mean, draft picks are nice, but also given the litter of first-round picks that are on the Celtics at this point, I sort of don't care about first-round picks anymore. Now, as I say that, Pritchard's pretty good, Robert Williams is good, I get it, but I can't help but see Grant Williams, and, I mean, Neesmith's a rookie, so you give him time, but maybe it would have been nice to get, like, a better player than Evan Fournier, but at the same time, getting Fournier for 2 seconds, not a bad deal. Certainly not a bad deal. I mean, for Orlando, I can't help but think, could they have gotten more? And, I mean, the specifics, if there are more to this trade, have not come out yet, but as of right now, it literally just says Evan Fournier for 2 seconds, and if that's the case, I'm assuming it's the exception, and again, I feel like the Magic potentially could have gotten a little bit more, but you don't know at the same time. Now, I feel like the Celtics can still do more, though, with this deadline, because, I mean, assuming that this is the exception, then you still have Tristan Thompson's $9 million contract. There's a chance that Thompson's contract is in this trade, because that's another thing with the Celtics is they're kind of pushing up against the luxury tax, and you got Robert Williams' extension this offseason. You have Daniel Tice's contract running out. You've got Fournier now. I mean, they're going to re-sign Evan Fournier? I would hope so, but he's a good player. He's averaging, 19 points a game? I mean, I know in the postseason he hasn't been as good, but I'd like to think now, not being the main guy on offense or close to it, that could help him out, get some more open shots, that sort of thing. Assuming the Celtics make the playoffs, I don't even know at this point. But, yeah, if you're going to want to bring him back, then you've got to be able to do that in a way to where you're not over the luxury tax, or if you are, it would only be for, let's say, one season. I mean, to be fair, what does it affect me if the Celtics are in the luxury tax? It doesn't, but front offices care about this, of course. Now, if I can also be kind of a worried Celtics fan, I fear that this could make it a little awkward when everybody's healthy on who starts. Because it's like Fournier or Smart. Either one works, but I feel like depending on which one you pick, the other guy's not going to like it. And in the case of Fournier, it's, well, he's about to be a free agent. And in the case of Marcus, well, there were already the rumors about him potentially being traded, and I don't really think that's going to happen at this point, but we'll have to see. And so it's like if he hears all that and then he's on the bench, probably wouldn't be that happy, especially because he has 1 year left in his contract. So I don't know how all that's going to play out. I mean, it might be totally fine, but like somebody's going to have to come off the bench. Okay, now when Kemba's hurt, it's cool, but I mean, look, Tatum, Jalen, Kemba, and the center are there. So one of these guys, Smart or Fournier, we'll have to see. And also who's going to be finishing games. I mean, Brad has had Smart in the game on like every fourth quarter ever. It seems like he still managed to do that even when Gordon Hayward was healthy. So I don't know. I mean, is there a small ball 5 option on this team? I mean, against some teams, sure. But I don't think that's something that they can go to all the time. So again, like in the case of Fournier, is it possible for him to go from what it's been in Orlando to the Celtics, where probably a few less minutes, few less shots, maybe more catch and shoot threes, and is he going to be able to adjust to that? I don't know. These second rounders that the Magic are getting from the Celtics, we'll have to see. I mean, Celtics second rounders could be good. They've got a Memphis second rounder in 2025. Maybe that one is going to be on the move. Orlando is going full-on tank job. I thought the return for Vooch, we'll have to see with Wendell, but 2 firsts is nice. And, maybe Cade Cunningham or whoever the hell else is at the top of the draft. I haven't really done any research on the draft besides what I've heard from other people who have. We'll have to see what the Magic end up getting. And maybe they will get one of the Celtics' random young dudes. Obviously, it would not be Robert Williams, and I don't think it would be Peyton Pritchard in this move, but I don't know. Maybe they got Langford or something. But yeah, man, I think Fournier to the Celtics, I think it's nice. I think it's good. I mean, the shooting, the ball handling, another guy who the defense has to actually care about. It could be kind of reminiscent of how Hayward was for them last year. He's not as good as Hayward, of course, but similar breadth of player. Little freaked out about the who's coming off the bench. Might not be a big deal. And in the case of the Magic, they're going to be losing the rest of the way, man.